Chapter 39 of the Book of Jubilees, translated by Robert Charles. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. And Jacob dwelt in the land of his father's sojournings in the land of Canaan. These are the generations of Jacob. And Joseph was 17 years old when they took him down into the land of Egypt, and Potiphar, an eunuch of Pharaoh the chief cook, bought him. 3. And he set Joseph over all his house, and the blessing of the Lord came upon the house of the Egyptian on account of Joseph, and the Lord prospered him in all that he did. 4. And the Egyptian committed everything into the hands of Joseph, for he saw that the Lord was with him, and that the Lord prospered him in all that he did. 5. And Joseph's appearance was comely, and very beautiful was his appearance. And his master's wife lifted up her eyes, and saw Joseph, and she loved him, and besought him to lie with her. 6. But he did not surrender his soul, and he remembered the Lord, and the words which Jacob his father used to read from amongst the words of Abraham, that no man should commit fornication with a woman who has a husband, that for him the punishment of death has been ordained in the heavens before the Most High God, and the sin will be recorded against him in the eternal books continually before the Lord. 7. And Joseph remembered these words, and refused to lie with her. 8. And she besought him for a year, but he refused and would not listen. 9. But she embraced him, and held him fast in the house, in order to force him to lie with her, and closed the doors of the house, and held him fast. But he left his garment in her hands, and broke through the door, and fled without from her presence. 10. And the woman saw that he would not lie with her, and she calumniated him in the presence of his Lord, saying, Thy Hebrew servant, whom thou lovest, sought to force me, so that he might lie with me. And it came to pass, when I lifted up my voice, that he fled and left his garment in my hands, when I held him, and he brake through the door. 11. And the Egyptians saw the garment of Joseph, and the broken door, and heard the words of his wife, and cast Joseph into prison, into the place where the prisoners were kept, whom the king imprisoned. 12. And he was there in the prison, and the Lord gave Joseph favor in the sight of the chief of the prison guards, and compassion before him, for he saw that the Lord was with him, and that the Lord made all that he did to prosper. 13. And he committed all things into his hands, and the chief of the prison guards knew of nothing that was with him, for Joseph did everything, and the Lord perfected it. 14. And he remained there 2 years. And in those days Pharaoh king of Egypt was wroth against his 2 eunuchs, against the chief butler and against the chief baker, and he put them in ward in the house of the chief cook, in the prison where Joseph was kept. 15. And the chief of the prison guards appointed Joseph to serve them, and he served before them. 16. And they both dreamed a dream, the chief butler and the chief baker, and they told it to Joseph. 17. And as he interpreted to them, so it befell them. And Pharaoh restored the chief butler to his office, and the chief baker he slew, as Joseph had interpreted to them. 18. But the chief butler forgot Joseph in the prison, although he had informed him what would befall him, and did not remember to inform Pharaoh how Joseph had told him, for he forgot. End of chapter 39. Chapter 40. And in those days Pharaoh dreamed 2 dreams in one night concerning a famine which was to be in all the land. And he awoke from his sleep, and called all the interpreters of dreams that were in Egypt, and magicians, and told them his 2 dreams, and they were not able to declare them. 2. And then the chief butler remembered Joseph, and spake of him to the king. And he brought him forth from the prison, and he told his 2 dreams before him. 3. And he said before Pharaoh that his 2 dreams were one. And he said unto him, 7 years will come, in which there will be plenty over all the land of Egypt, and after that 7 years of famine, such a famine as has not been in all the land. 4. And now let Pharaoh appoint overseers in all the land of Egypt, and let them store up food in every city throughout the days of the years of plenty, and there will be food for the 7 years of famine, and the land will not perish through the famine, for it will be very severe. 5. And the Lord gave Joseph favor and mercy in the eyes of Pharaoh. And Pharaoh said unto his servants, We shall not find such a wise and discreet man as this man, for the Spirit of the Lord is with him. 6. And he appointed him the second in all his kingdom, and gave him authority over all Egypt, and caused him to ride in the second chariot of Pharaoh. 7. And he clothed him with byssus garments, and he put a gold chain upon his neck, and a herald proclaimed before him, El wa Abira. And he placed a ring on his hand, and made him ruler over all his house, and magnified him, and said unto him, Only on the throne shall I be greater than thou. 8. And Joseph ruled over all the land of Egypt, and all the princes of Pharaoh, and all his servants, and all who did the king's business loved him, for he walked in uprightness, for he was without pride and arrogance, and he had no respect of persons, and did not accept gifts, but he judged in uprightness all the people of the land. 9. And the land of Egypt was at peace before Pharaoh because of Joseph, for the Lord was with him, and gave him favor and mercy for all his generations, before all those who knew him, and those who heard concerning him. And Pharaoh's kingdom was well ordered, and there was no Satan and no evil person therein. 10. And the king called Joseph's name Sephantiphans, and gave Joseph to wife the daughter of Potiphar, the daughter of the priest of Heliopolis, the chief cook. 11. On the day that Joseph stood before Pharaoh, he was 30 years old when he stood before Pharaoh. 12. And in that year Isaac died. And it came to pass, as Joseph had said in the interpretation of his 2 dreams, according as he had said it, there were 7 years of plenty over all the land of Egypt. And the land of Egypt produced abundantly, 1 measure producing 1,800 measures. 13. And Joseph gathered food into every city until they were full of corn, until they could no longer count and measure it for its multitude. Chapter 42 of the Book of Jubilees. Notwithstanding Jacob's reluctance, his sons take Benjamin with them on their second journey, and are entertained by Joseph. 13-25. Compare Genesis 41, 54, 56, 42, 7-9, 13, 17, 20, 24-25, 29-30, 34-38, 43, 1-2, 4-5, 8-9, 11, 15, 23, 26, 29, 34, 44, 1-2. And in the first year of the 3rd week of the 45th Jubilee, the famine began to come into the land, and the rain refused to be given to the earth, for none would ever fell. 2. And the earth grew barren, but in the land of Egypt there was food, for Joseph had gathered the seed of the land in the 7 years of plenty, and had preserved it. 3. And the Egyptians came to Joseph that he might give them food, and he opened the storehouses where was the grain of the first year, and he sold it to the people of the land for gold. 4. Now the famine was very sore in the land of Canaan, and Jacob heard that there was food in Egypt, and he sent his 10 sons that they should procure food for him in Egypt. But Benjamin he did not send, and the 10 sons of Jacob arrived in Egypt among those that went there. 5. And Joseph recognized them, but they did not recognize him. And he spake unto them, and questioned them, and he said unto them, Are ye not spies, and have ye not come to explore the approaches of the land? And he put them in ward. 6. And after that he set them free again, and detained Simeon alone, and sent off his 9 brothers. 7. And he filled their sacks with corn, and he put their gold in their sacks, and they did not know. 8. And he commanded them to bring their younger brother, for they had told him their father was living, and their younger brother. 9. And they went up from the land of Egypt, and they came to the land of Canaan. And they told their father all that had befallen them, and how the Lord of the country had spoken roughly to them, and had seized Simeon till they should bring Benjamin. 10. And Jacob said, Me have ye bereaved of my children. Joseph is not, and Simeon also is not, and ye will take Benjamin away. On me has your wickedness come. 11. And he said, My son will not go down with you, lest perchance he fall sick. For their mother gave birth to 2 sons, and one is perished, and this one also ye will take from me. If perchance he took a fever on the road, ye would bring down my old age with sorrow unto death. 12. For he saw that their money had been returned to every man in his sack, and for this reason he feared to send him. 13. And the famine increased, and became sore in the land of Canaan, and in all lands save in the land of Egypt, for many of the children of the Egyptians had stored up their seed for food, from the time when they saw Joseph gathering seed together, and putting it in storehouses, and preserving it for the years of famine. 14. And the people of Egypt fed themselves thereon during the first year of their famine. 15. But when Israel saw that the famine was very sore in the land, and that there was no deliverance, he said unto his sons, Go again and procure food for us, that we die not. 16, and they said, We shall not go, unless our youngest brother go with us, we shall not go. 17, and Israel saw that if he did not send him with them, they should all perish by reason of the famine. 18, and Reuben said, Give him into my hand, and if I do not bring him back to thee, slay my 2 sons instead of his soul. And he said unto him, He will not go with thee. 19, and Judah came near and said, Send him with me, and if I do not bring him back to thee, let me bear the blame before thee all the days of my life. 20, and he sent him with them in the 2nd year of this week on the 1st day of the month. And they came to the land of Egypt with all those who went, and they had presents in their hands, stacked and almonds and terebinth nuts and pure honey. 21, and they went and stood before Joseph, and he saw Benjamin his brother, and he knew him, and said unto them, Is this your youngest brother? And they said unto him, It is he. And he said, The Lord be gracious to thee, my son. 22, and he sent him into his house, and he brought forth Simeon unto them, and he made a feast for them, and they presented to him the gift which they had brought in their hands. 23, and they eat before him, and he gave them all a portion, but the portion of Benjamin was 7 times larger than that of any of theirs. 24, and they eat and drank and arose and remained with their asses. 25, and Joseph devised a plan whereby he might learn their thoughts as to whether thoughts of peace prevailed amongst them. And he said to the steward who was over his house, Fill all their sacks with food, and return their money unto them into their vessels. And my cup, the silver cup, out of which I drink, put it in the sack of the youngest, and send them away. Chapter 43 of the Book of Jubilees. And he did as Joseph had told him, and filled all their sacks for them with food, and put their money in their sacks, and put the cup in Benjamin's sack. 2, and early in the morning they departed. And it came to pass that when they had gone from thence, Joseph said unto the steward of his house, Pursue them, run and seize them, saying, For good ye have requited me with evil. You have stolen from me the silver cup out of which my Lord drinks. And bring back to me their youngest brother, and fetch him quickly before I go forth to my seat of judgment. 3, and he ran after them, and said unto them according to these words. 4, and they said unto him, God forbid that thy servants should do this thing, and steal from the house of thy Lord any utensil, and the money also which we found in our sacks the first time we thy servants brought back from the land of Canaan. 5, how then should we steal any utensil? Behold, here are we and our sacks. Search, and wherever thou findest the cup in the sack of any man amongst us, let him be slain, and we and our asses will serve thy Lord. 6, and he said unto them, Not so, the man with whom I find, him only shall I take as a servant, and ye will return in peace unto your house. 7, and as he was searching in their vessels, beginning with the eldest, and ending with the youngest, it was found in Benjamin's sack. 8, and they rent their garments, and laded their asses, and returned to the city, and came to the house of Joseph, and they all bowed themselves on their faces to the ground before him. 9, and Joseph said unto them, Ye have done evil. And they said, What shall we say? And how shall we defend ourselves? Our Lord hath discovered the transgression of his servants. Behold, we are the servants of our Lord, and our asses also. 10, and Joseph said unto them, I too fear the Lord. As for you, go ye to your homes, and let your brother be my servant, for ye have done evil. Know ye not that a man delights in his cup as I with this cup? And yet ye have stolen it from me. 11, and Judah said, O my Lord, let thy servant, I pray thee, speak a word in my Lord's ear. 2 brothers did thy servant's mother bear to our father. One went away and was lost, and hath not been found, and he alone is left of his mother. And thy servant our father loves him, and his life also is bound up with the life of this lad. 12, and it will come to pass when we go to thy servant our father, and the lad is not with us, that he will die, and we shall bring down our father with sorrow unto death. 13, now rather let me, thy servant, abide instead of the boy as a bondsman unto my Lord, and let the lad go with his brethren, for I became surety for him at the hand of thy servant our father, and if I do not bring him back, thy servant will bear the blame to our father forever. 14, and Joseph saw that they were all accordant in goodness one with another, and he could not refrain himself, and he told them that he was Joseph. 15, and he conversed with them in the Hebrew tongue, and fell on their neck and wept, but they knew him not, and they began to weep. 16, and he said unto them, Weep not over me, but hasten, and bring my father to me, and ye see that it is my mouth that speaketh, and the eyes of my brother Benjamin see. 17, for behold, this is the 2nd year of the famine, and there are still 5 years without harvest or fruit of trees or plowing. 18, come down quickly, ye and your households, so that ye perish not through the famine, and do not be grieved for your possessions, for the Lord sent me before you to set things in order, that many people might live. 19, and tell my father that I am still alive, and ye behold, ye see that the Lord has made me as a father to Pharaoh, and ruler over his house, and over all the land of Egypt. 20, and tell my father of all my glory, and all the riches and glory that the Lord hath given me. 21, and by the command of the mouth of Pharaoh he gave them chariots and provisions for the way, and he gave them all many-colored raiment and silver. 22, and to their father he sent raiment and silver, and 10 asses, which carried corn, and he sent them away. 23, and they went up and told their father that Joseph was alive, and was measuring out corn to all the nations of the earth, and that he was ruler over all the land of Egypt. 24, and their father did not believe it, for he was beside himself in his mind. But when he saw the wagons which Joseph had sent, the life of his spirit revived, and he said, It is enough for me if Joseph lives. I will go down and see him before I die. Chapter 44 of the Book of Jubilees. And Israel took his journey from Haran, from his house on the new moon of the 3rd month, and he went on the way of the well of the oath, and he offered a sacrifice to the God of his father Isaac on the 7th of this month. 2, and Jacob remembered the dream that he had seen at Bethel, and he feared to go down into Egypt. 3, and while he was thinking of sending word to Joseph to come to him, and that he would not go down, he remained there 7 days, if perchance he should see a vision as to whether he should remain or go down. 4, and he celebrated the harvest festival of the first fruits with old grain, for in all the land of Canaan there was not a handful of seed in the land, for the famine was over all the beasts and cattle and birds, and also over man. 5, and on the 16th the Lord appeared unto him, and said unto him, Jacob, Jacob. And he said, Here am I. And he said unto him, I am the God of thy fathers, the God of Abraham and Isaac. Fear not to go down into Egypt, for I will there make of thee a great nation. 6, I shall go down with thee, and I shall bring thee up again, and in this land wilt thou be buried, and Joseph will put his hands upon thy eyes. Fear not, go down into Egypt. 7, and his sons rose up, and his sons' sons, and they placed their father and their possessions upon wagons. 8, and Israel rose up from the well of the oath on the 16th of this 3rd month, and he went to the land of Egypt. 9, and Israel sent Judah before him to his son Joseph to examine the land of Goshen, for Joseph had told his brothers that they should come and dwell there, that they might be near him. 10, and this was the goodliest land in the land of Egypt, and near to him for all of them, and also for the cattle. 11, and these are the names of the sons of Jacob, who went into Egypt with Jacob their father. 12, Reuben the firstborn of Israel, and these are the names of his sons, Enoch, and Palu, and Hezron, and Carmi. 5, 13, Simeon and his sons, and these are the names of his sons, Jemuel, and Jamin, and Ohad, and Jachin, and Zohar, and Shaul, the son of the Zephathite woman. 7, 14, Levi and his sons, and these are the names of his sons, Gershon, and Kohath, and Merari. 4, 15, Judah and his sons, and these are the names of his sons, Shelah, and Perez, and Zerah. 4, 16, Issachar and his sons, and these are the names of his sons, Tola, and Phua, and Jasub, and Shimron. 5, 17, Zebulun and his sons, and these are the names of his sons, Sered, and Elon, and Jahleel. 4, 18, and these are the sons of Jacob, and their sons whom Leah bore to Jacob in Mesopotamia. 6, and their one sister Dinah, and all the souls of the sons of Leah, and their sons, who went with Jacob their father into Egypt, were 29, and Jacob their father being with them, they were 30. 19. And the sons of Zilpah, Leah's handmaid, the wife of Jacob, whom she bore unto Jacob, Gad and Asher. 20. And these are the names of their sons who went with him into Egypt, the sons of Gad, Ziphion, and Haggai, and Shunai, and Esbon, Arendari, Areli, and Arodi. 8. 21. And the sons of Asher, Imnah, and Ishva, and Ishvi, and Beriah, and Sarah, their one sister. 6. 22. All the souls were 14, and all those of Leah were 44. 23. And the sons of Rachel, the wife of Jacob, Joseph and Benjamin. 24. And there were born to Joseph in Egypt before his father came into Egypt, those whom Asenath, daughter of Potiphar, priest of Heliopolis, bare unto him, Manasseh and Ephraim. 3. 25. And the sons of Benjamin, Bela and Betcher, and Ashabel, Jerah, and Naaman, and Ehi, and Rosh, and Mupim, and Huppim, and Ard. 11. 26. And all the souls of Rachel were 14. 27. And the sons of Bilhah, the handmaid of Rachel, the wife of Jacob, whom she bare to Jacob, were Dan and Naphtali. 28. And these are the names of their sons who went with them into Egypt. And the sons of Dan were Husham, and Salmon, and Asudi, and Ajakiah, and Salomon. 6. 29. And they died the year in which they entered into Egypt, and there was left to Dan Husham alone. 30. And these are the names of the sons of Naphtali, Jazeel, and Guni, and Jezer, and Shalom, and Iv. 31. And Iv, who was born after the years of famine, died in Egypt. 32. And all the souls of Rachel were 26. 33. And all the souls of Jacob, which went into Egypt, were 70 souls. These are his children and his children's children, in all 70. But 5 died in Egypt before Joseph, and had no children. 34. And in the land of Canaan 2 sons of Judah died, and Onan, and they had no children. And the children of Israel buried those who perished, and they were reckoned among the 70 Gentile nations. Chapter 45 of the Book of Jubilees. And Israel went into the country of Egypt, into the land of Goshen, on the new moon of the 4th month in the 2nd year of the 3rd week of the 45th Jubilee. 2. And Joseph went to meet his father Jacob to the land of Goshen, and he fell on his father's neck and wept. 3. And Israel said unto Joseph, Now let me die, since I have seen thee, and now may the Lord God of Israel be blessed, the God of Abraham and the God of Isaac, who hath not withheld his mercy and his grace from his servant Jacob. For it is enough for me that I have seen thy face, whilst I am yet alive. Yea, true is the vision which I saw at Bethel. Blessed be the Lord my God for ever and ever, and blessed be his name. 5. And Joseph and his brothers eat bread before their father, and drank wine, and Jacob rejoiced with exceeding great joy, because he saw Joseph eating with his brothers, and drinking before him, and he blessed the Creator of all things, who had preserved him, and had preserved for him his 12 sons. 6. And Joseph had given to his father and to his brothers as a gift the right of dwelling in the land of Goshen, and in Ramses, and all the region round about, which he ruled over before Pharaoh. And Israel and his sons dwelt in the land of Goshen, the best part of the land of Egypt. And Israel was 130 years old when he came into Egypt. 7. And Joseph nourished his father and his brethren, and also their possessions, with bread, as much as sufficed them for the 7 years of the famine. 8. And the land of Egypt suffered by reason of the famine, and Joseph acquired all the land of Egypt for Pharaoh in return for food, and he got possession of the people and their cattle and everything for Pharaoh. 9. And the years of the famine were accomplished, and Joseph gave to the people in the land seed and food, that they might sow the land in the 8th year, for the river had overflowed all the land of Egypt. 10. For in the 7 years of the famine it had not overflowed, and had irrigated only a few places on the banks of the river, but now it overflowed, and the Egyptians sowed the land, and it bore much corn that year. 11. And this was the 1st year of the 4th week of the 45th Jubilee. 12. And Joseph took of the corn of the harvest the 5th part for the king, and left 4 parts for them for food and for seed. And Joseph made it an ordinance for the land of Egypt until this day. 13. And Israel lived in the land of Egypt 17 years, and all the days which he lived were 3 jubilees, 147 years, and he died in the 4th year of the 5th week of the 45th jubilee. 14. And Israel blessed his sons before he died, and told them everything that would befall them in the land of Egypt. And he made known to them what would come upon them in the last days, and blessed them, and gave to Joseph 2 portions in the land. 15. And he slept with his fathers, and he was buried in the double cave in the land of Canaan, near Abraham his father, in the grave which he dug for himself in the double cave in the land of Hebron. 16. And he gave all his books and the books of his fathers to Levi his son, that he might preserve them and renew them for his children until his day. Chapter 46 of the Book of Jubilees. And it came to pass that after Jacob died, the children of Israel multiplied in the land of Egypt, and they became a great nation, and they were of one accord in heart, so that brother loved brother, and every man helped his brother, and they increased abundantly and multiplied exceedingly 10 weeks of years, all the days of the life of Joseph. 2. And there was no Satan, nor any evil, all the days of the life of Joseph, which he lived after his father Jacob. For all the Egyptians honored the children of Israel, all the days of the life of Joseph. 3. And Joseph died, being 110 years old. 17 years he lived in the land of Canaan, and 10 years he was a servant, and 3 years in prison, and 80 years he was under the king, ruling all the land of Egypt. 4. And he died, and all his brethren and all that generation. 5. And he commanded the children of Israel before he died that they should carry his bones with them when they went forth from the land of Egypt. 6. And he made them swear regarding his bones. 4. He knew that the Egyptians would not again bring forth and bury him in the land of Canaan, for Maron, king of Canaan, while dwelling in the land of Assyria, fought in the valley with the king of Egypt, and slew him there, and pursued after the Egyptians to the gates of Erman. 7. But he was not able to enter, for a new king had become king of Egypt, and he was stronger than he, and he returned to the land of Canaan, and the gates of Egypt were closed, and none went out, and none came into Egypt. 8. And Joseph died in the 46th jubilee, in the 6th week, in the 2nd year, and they buried him in the land of Egypt, and all his brethren died after him. 9. And the king of Egypt went forth to war with the king of Canaan in the 47th jubilee, in the 2nd week, in the 2nd year, and the children of Israel brought forth all the bones of the children of Jacob, save the bones of Joseph, and they buried them in the field, in the double cave, in the mountain. 10. And the most of them returned to Egypt, but a few of them remained in the mountains of Hebron, and Amram, thy father, remained with them. 11. And the king of Canaan was victorious over the king of Egypt, and he closed the gates of Egypt. 12. And he devised an evil device against the children of Israel, of afflicting them, and he said unto the people of Egypt. 13. Behold, the people of the children of Israel have increased and multiplied more than we. Come and let us deal wisely with them before they become too many, and let us afflict them with slavery before war come upon us, and before they too fight against us, else they will join themselves unto our enemies, and get them up out of our land, for their hearts and faces are towards the land of Canaan. 14. And he set over them taskmasters to afflict them with slavery, and they built strong cities for Pharaoh, Pithom, and Ramses, and they built all the walls and all the fortifications which had fallen in the cities of Egypt. 15. And they made them serve with rigor, and the more they dealt evilly with them, the more they increased and multiplied. 16. And the people of Egypt abominated the children of Israel.